The city was a symphony of grays and muted blues under the persistent drizzle. Rain slicked the pavement, turning the usual bustling street into a series of shimmering reflections. Inside the corner coffee, the scent of roasted coffee beans and damp wool mingled pleasantly. Zuri, with her vibrant personality that seemed to defy the dreary weather, was trying to navigate a towering stack of oversized art books. Her round black glasses was perched precariously on her nose as she squinted at a particularly obscure title. Honestly, she muttered to herself, who designed shelves this high for books this heavy? That's when he appeared, Liam. He was new to the neighborhood, an architect by trade, and possessed a quiet intensity that Zuri found both intriguing and admittedly a little adorable. He was tall, with fair skin and a perpetually tousled mop of dark brown hair that looked like he'd just run his hands through it 1,000 times. Right now his cheeks were a faint blush, and he hovered near the towering shelves, clearly trying to pretend he wasn't watching Zuri's precarious struggle. Need a hand? Liam's voice was soft, almost a murmur, but clear enough to cut through the cafe's gentle hum. He gestured vaguely at the leaning tower of books. Zuri straightened, nearly sending the top book crashing down. She steadied it with a giggle. Oh, hey, Liam. Just battling the titans of art history. They're surprisingly heavy. My arms are apparently not built for this kind of intellectual heft. She flashed him a mischievous grin, pushing her glasses up her nose. Liam's blush deepened slightly, but he took a step closer. I could help reach that top one for you. I'm quite tall. He emphasized quite tall as if it were a recently discovered superpower. You're right, aren't you? Zuri mused, eyeing his impressive height. All right, Captain Reach, the dark green one with the gold spine. Barrel-kit masterpieces of the Low Countries, my nemesis for the day. Liam nodded, his brow furrowed in concentration. He carefully extended a long arm, his fingers brushing past several other books. His hand trembled just a fraction as he stretched, and then, thud, not the intended book. Instead, a slim, brightly colored paperback titled 101 Ways to Befriend Your Cat tumbled from a shelf and landed with an embarrassing plop right at Zuri's feet. Zuri stared at the book, then at Liam, a slow smile spreading across her face. Liam, meanwhile, had gone from a faint blush to a full-blown crimson, his eyes wide with mortification. Oh, Liam, Zuri said, trying to stifle her laughter, but failing spectacularly. She bent down and picked up the offending book, turning it over in her hands. Is this yours? Liam winced, running a hand through his already messy hair. No. Yes. I have a cat, too, actually, but I saw it on the shelf and I was curious. For a friend who has a cat. Not that I need help befriending my own cats. They're very friendly. Very. Affectionate. He was rapidly digging himself into a deeper hole, his shy demeanor momentarily overwhelmed by sheer awkwardness. Zuri burst into genuine laughter, a warm, melodic sound that made a few heads turn in the cafe. Liam, she finally managed, holding up the book. It's okay. There's no shame in wanting to understand your feline overlords better. In fact, I think it's rather endearing. Liam risked a glance at her, and seeing her genuine amusement rather than judgment, a tentative, shy smile touched his lips. He finally retrieved the correct art book, handing it to her carefully. Their fingers brushed, and a spark, almost imperceptible but definitely there, seemed to jump between them. The rain continued to tap against the window, providing the perfect backdrop for their unfolding connection. Zuri tucked the weighty art book under her arm, a wide, genuine smile still playing on her lips. So, Liam, tell me about these mysterious feline overlords you allegedly don't need help befriending. She nudged him playfully with her elbow. Liam visibly relaxed, the intense blush finally fading from his cheeks. He even managed a small chuckle. Well, there's Mittens. She's a diva, demands to be fed precisely at 6 a.m., and if you're a minute late, she stages a protest by systematically knocking every small item off your bedside table. And then there's Shadow, he's mostly a shadow. You barely see him unless it's for food or a midnight cuddle. He found himself gesturing animatedly, something Yuri noticed he rarely did. A diva and a phantom. Sounds like quite the household, Yuri said, her eyes twinkling. I'm a dog person myself, but I appreciate the complexity of cat dynamics. They fell into an easy rhythm after that, discussing everything from the architectural nuances of old city buildings, Liam's passion, to the intricate symbolism in modern art, Zuri's. The shy architect, initially hesitant, was slowly unfurling like a delicate fern in the warmth of Zuri's outgoing nature. He discovered he could talk to her, truly talk, without the usual anxiety that seemed to cling to his social interactions. The rain outside intensified, drumming a steady rhythm against the cafe windows. Eventually, the barista announced closing. "Oh, already?" Zuri lamented, glancing at her watch. "Time flies when you're discussing the philosophical implications of cat ownership and brutalist architecture," she laughed. Liam looked almost disappointed and nodded. "It does." He hesitated, then, emboldened by her conversation, blurted, "Can I, walk you home? It's really coming down." Zuri's smile softened. "That's sweet, Liam. You don't have to, but I wouldn't say no to some chivalry." They stepped out into the pouring rain, pulling up hoods and bracing themselves against sudden chill. The streetlights cast long, watery streaks on the wet asphalt. They walked in comfortable silence for a block, the sound of the rain filling the void. As they approached Zuri's apartment building, she turned to him, droplets clinging to her curly hair and glasses. "Thanks for walking me, Liam, and for saving me from my own hubris and possibly concussion from a falling art book." Liam looked at her, his dark eyes earnest in the dim light. "I had a really good time, Zuri. I usually don't talk this much." "Well, I'm glad you did," she said warmly, tilting her head. "You're actually kind of interesting, when you're not trying to befriend cats in secret." A faint blush returned to Liam's cheeks, but this time it was accompanied by a confident sparkle in his eyes. He took a small step closer, his gaze dropping to her lips, then back to her eyes. The air between them suddenly crackled, thick with unspoken anticipation. Zuri's heart gave a little flutter. Liam leaned in, slowly, giving her every opportunity to pull away. Her breath hitched. Just as his lips were about to meet hers, a mischievous grin spread across Zuri's face. She lifted a hand and gently, almost imperceptibly, pushed his chin up with her thumb, redirecting his kiss so that it landed on her cheek, right by her ear. "Not quite yet, Captain Reach," she whispered, her voice a playful tease. "You'll have to earn that one." She winked, a bright spark in the rainy evening. Liam froze. A mix of surprise and a fresh wave of embarrassment washed over him. But then, to Zuri's delight, a genuine, confident smile broke through. His eyes, no longer shy, met hers with a challenging glint. "Oh, I plan to, Zuri," he said in his voice surprisingly firm, the shyness almost entirely gone. "I absolutely plan to." He watched as she turned and slipped into her building, leaving him standing in the rain, a wide, hopeful smile on his face, a feeling of lightness in his chest, and a brand new determination to brave any bookshelf or any kiss that came his way.